You can still change configuration settings even if you can't edit the main PHP configuration file, php.ini. In this video, I'll cover briefly 3 alternative approaches. This can be useful if the company hosting your website doesn't give you control over php.ini. The most common alternative is to use a file called .htaccess, but this works only if your server is running Apache. In the exercise files in the chapter 101_03 folder, I've created this file, htaccess.txt. And this shows you how to change the configuration settings on Apache for error reporting, display errors, and date.timezone. The lines that begin with a hash or pound sign are treated as comments, so the lines that don't have the pound or hash sign are the actual configuration directives. Each setting must be on a separate line, and where the configuration directive sets a value, the line begins with php_value, followed by a space, the name of the directive that you want to set, another space, and then the value. In the case of error_reporting, you need to use an actual number rather than e_all, because Apache doesn't understand PHP constants. When the directive toggles a setting on or off, the line begins with php_flag, then the name of the directive, and after a space, either on or off. To change the settings on an Apache server, save this file in the server's document root folder as .htaccess and remove the .txt on the end of the file name. I've put that .txt on the end of the file name because on a Mac, file names that begin with a dot are hidden in the Mac Finder. Using a .htaccess file has an immediate effect. There's no need to restart the web server. Some installations of PHP support a different type of user configuration file called .user.ini, and there's an example of that here in user.ini.txt. This uses exactly the same syntax as php.ini. So if you check with your hosting company and it says that it supports .user.ini files, you can rename this file, just take off the .txt on the end and begin it with .user.ini, and then you can upload it to your remote server and it will change the configuration settings. If neither of these alternatives is available to you, or if you simply want to change the settings for a single file, you can change some settings on the fly at runtime, and there's an example of how to do that in this file, runtime_config.php. For most settings, you use ini_set, and then between a pair of parentheses, the first argument is the configuration setting that you want to change, then after a comma, the value that you want to set it to. In the case of e_all, that's a PHP constant, so it's not in quotes, but normally the second value should be in quotes. And if you want to change the time zone setting, you need to use date_default_timezone_set, and then between the parentheses, the time zone setting. So that's 3 alternative ways to change configuration settings in PHP. You should consider these only if you don't have direct access to editing the main configuration file, php.ini. If your web server is running Apache, you can use this style, the .htaccess style. If your server supports .user.ini, you use this style, and then if you want to change just at runtime, you can use this ini_set. But this is the least efficient way to do it, unless you need to make only a temporary change, or to make the change for a specific script.